Good evening, people. Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we've got an absolutely massive show for you guys tonight. Before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. So on the show this evening, we are going to be talking about quite a few outgoings that have been hotting up today. We've got 2 or 3 players who look set to leave the club, so we will be talking about that. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Ryan Gravenberch and whether a bid for him might be on the way. We'll also be covering Onana. There's a bit of a blow around him, which we will talk about shortly. Also a bit about Harry Maguire, Rafael Varane, and a bit of just a general conversation about what the rest of our transfer window will look like. Bit of an update on Amrabat, lots and lots to get into, so do get involved in the comment section. As always, I will try and make it as interactive as possible, so do let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss over the course of the show. So let's start off with Sofyan Amrabat then, because I know this is one that everybody is really excited about. So there's a story coming out this afternoon saying that apparently Sofyan Amrabat is now training on his own as he waits for Manchester United to agree a deal with Fiorentina. It goes on to say he is acting like a player on the verge of being sold, training separately away from the rest of the Fiorentina squad. So for the whole of this week, we're being told that he did not train with the squad. He trained on his own, individually, away from the rest of the team. And this story goes as far as saying today, Manchester United transfer target Sofyan Amrabat has been left out of Fiorentina's 24-man squad for their Europa Conference League clash against Rapid Vienna on Thursday evening. So obviously they've got a game tomorrow, Conference League qualifier, I think it is, and he's not been included in the 24-man squad for that. So he's going somewhere, whether that's going to be Manchester United, whether that's going to be Atletico Madrid. He is definitely leaving Fiorentina. That's pretty clear. He wouldn't be he wouldn't be training away from the rest of the team, and he wouldn't be missing out on such important games if there was any chance of him staying. He's got to be going. Whether or not Manchester United are going to get their ass into gear, who knows? Now, we have got a bit of an update on that. So there's a story coming out from a couple of different journalists in Italy this afternoon saying that apparently there is a meeting booked this week between Manchester United and Fiorentina to discuss the Sofyan Amrabat deal. I mean, why are they having a meeting? Just send the bid. If you want Sofyan Amrabat, pay the money and get him to the club. I'm sick of meetings. I'm sick of interested. I'm sick of, in talks with. I'm sick of personal terms being agreed. If you want Sofyan Amrabat, just submit the bid to Fiorentina, pay them the £25 million that they want and get it done. So, I don't know. There's literally, a week left of the transfer window. It ends, I think, next Friday. Why do they need to have a meeting with them? Just call them up, tell them how much you want to offer, and then be done with it. Anyway, hopefully this meeting actually get some results. Hopefully we're not just sat here talking about it again in a couple of days' time. So yeah, that's all of the updates on Sofyan Amrabat. He's not part of the squad. So whether he comes to Manchester United or not, he's definitely leaving Fiorentina. Obviously, I hope he does come to Manchester United, but who knows at this point? Who knows? I thought it was definitely going to happen, but your guess is as good as mine. Manchester United never failed to amaze me in this transfer window. Some of the stuff that's happened has been absolutely mental, hasn't it? But let's move on to the next story, though. Let's talk a little bit about Noam Emmerson. So this was somebody we did a video about yesterday. Obviously, Noam Emmerson, right winger, did a really good... he had a really good couple of games, actually, didn't he, in pre-season? He got a goal, he got a couple of assists. So Noam Emmerson is about to sign a contract with FC Groningen, a Dutch team, 4-year deal. It's going to be a permanent deal and it will be completed for around €700,000. So again, we're selling another one of our youth players, one of our probably most exciting players from the youth academy, I'd say. Maybe not the best player, but one of the more exciting ones. He's going to Groningen for €700,000 with a 25% sell-on clause included. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to think about that, really. €700,000. I mean, how much is that in pounds? It's not much, is it? It's probably about £500,000. It's about the amount of money that we're paying Rashford in 1 week. Yeah. It's Rashford and Varane's wages for a week combined that we're selling him for, which isn't particularly great, is it? Like, we're not exactly going to get very far with €700,000. So, I don't know. Obviously, it's up to Erik ten Hag. If he doesn't think he's good enough, then I guess get rid of him. We're not the manager of Manchester United. We're just fans who, talk about the game. But on the topic of that, actually, there is a story coming out this afternoon saying that it says Ten Hag has made it clear that only the very best youngsters will have a chance of making it at the senior level with Manchester United. So it looks like Ten Hag is being very cutthroat with young players. If he doesn't think they're good enough, he's getting rid of them, which I guess is fair enough. If they're not good enough, get a bit of money for them, move them on, hopefully reinvest that money in other areas. But £500,000 for a player who clearly, I mean, I'm not going to be funny with you, but I reckon some of you in the chat would rather see him play than Antony, wouldn't you? You know, and we've just sold him for €700,000 and we paid €100 million for Antony. So those are the bits where it gets a little bit confusing. I don't really understand why we're selling these youth players for such small amounts of money, yet we go and buy Antony, who never was a world-class player. We were buying him based on his potential. Manchester United even said that. They said we're buying him on what we think he's going to become in the future. So why are we not pricing our youth players at the prices we think they could become in the future? Imagine if this Emeran player goes on to do well. He's going to be worth 20, 30, 40 million pounds, isn't he? So why are we selling him for €700,000? It's a bit strange, but obviously Ten Hag's the manager. I trust Erik Ten Hag. And as I said, the story that came out this afternoon from Manchester Evening News, ultimately saying that he's made it very clear to the players that if he doesn't think they're good enough to be part of the team, he will just get rid of them. He will sell them off. So it is what it is, but we'll have to wait and see whether that money is then reinvested in other areas or whether that's just a case of €700,000 going into euros going into the kitty for wages. I don't know. I'm not really sure how it's gonna work out. And then talking about youth players, we've got a couple of youth players who seem to be leaving today. So it looks like Alvaro Fernandez is also going to be leaving the club. It goes on to say that Granada are in formal talks with Manchester United to sign Alvaro Fernandez on loan. It says they want an option to buy included as well. Burnley are also keen on the deal. So it looks like Alvaro Fernandez will also be exiting the club. Obviously, Zidane Iqbal's already gone. Noam Emran's gone. Alvaro Fernandez is set to go. There's quite a few of these youth players are being pushed out. Now, if Erik Ten Hag doesn't think they're good enough, get rid of them. Get rid of them. No way. No problem with that. Obviously, we're not the managers. He looked good again in pre-season. I thought Alvaro Fernandez looked decent. Some might even argue that he should be, the backup left back behind Luke Shaw. Obviously, Tyrell Malacia is injured. There's so many question marks about everything that's going on by way of, do we have enough backup options in those positions? I'm not sure. I don't know. Obviously, Diogo Dalot can play at left back as well, so maybe that's what Erik Ten Hag's thinking. Maybe he's thinking, get rid of Alvaro Fernandez. He's not, going to ever make it in my plans. And if that is the case, then obviously don't hold back someone's career. Let him go. Hopefully he goes and has a good career in Granada. Wish him all the best. But yeah, it's a little bit confusing. But hopefully it all kind of pans out in the end. But let me know what your thoughts are on these two deals that are on the brink of happening. Noam Emran to Groningen in the Dutch league for €700,000. And then Alvaro Fernandez on loan to either Granada or Burnley, with most likely a buy option included in the deal. Let me know what you think about that. Would you do those deals, or do you think they should be staying at the club? All I will say is this. If Erik Ten Hag is being told that he needs to sell these players in order to raise funds, then that's a disgrace. It is simply a disgrace, because we should be able to sell our bigger earners, right? We should be able to sell the McTominays, the Maguires, the Donny van der Beeks. The fact that he's having to sell all these really young players just to raise tiny amounts of money, if that is the case, then obviously that's not a very good look for anybody. But it is what it is, isn't it? We're at that point now of the season where we're starting to get people leave the club, but it's no one actually worth any money. €700,000 isn't going to get us very far. And then the other person who looks set to leave is, of course, Brandon Williams. So Brandon Williams is in advanced talks with Ipswich. It looks like it will be a loan with a buy option included as well. So again, he's not really a youth player, is he? He's already played a lot of first team football. So I don't have a massive issue with Brandon Williams going, because we already know that he's not going to be good enough to be a Manchester United player. Whereas I think the other two, there was always that question mark. Could Alvaro Fernandez be the backup left back? Maybe. Whereas Brandon Williams, obviously I wish him all the best. He had a couple of good games, didn't he, for Manchester United? Was it under Ollie or under Ragnick? I can't remember when it was, but he looked all right, didn't he? He's definitely not United quality. Let's wish him all the best. Going to Ipswich, obviously Kieran McKenna's the manager. Let's hope he goes there and has a really good career. We're not sure at this stage how much the buy option is going to be worth. My guess is somewhere around 3 to 5 million, I would predict, but obviously at this point we don't know what that will be yet. Big ups to everybody who's watching the show this evening, by the way. Please do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're less than 100 subscribers away from 15,000, so let's see if we can hit that by the end of the show today. Doesn't cost any money, it's completely free, so please do subscribe if you are new. Right, let's move on to the next story though. So we're going to talk about the midfield madness now, hence the video title. Now, There's a bit of bad news, really. Samuel Luckhurst is reporting this afternoon that it is now uncertain if Donny van de Beek will depart Manchester United after the interest in the midfielder has now cooled down. So, obviously, it looked like he was going to go to Real Sociedad. That hasn't materialised. And it looks like at the moment that nobody is interested in him. Nobody wants to take Donny van de Beek. So there is always the potential that he stays at Manchester United now and he doesn't leave the club. I don't know. If that means that Amrabat doesn't come, obviously that's really frustrating, but I don't know. I'm not sure the point in loaning out Donny. I said this to you multiple times before. I think loaning out Donny is a waste of time. If you can get money for him, great, go and do it. But loaning him, it seems pointless. It really does. And I don't understand why we need to loan Donny in order to be able to buy Amrabat. Because you usually don't really get any money for doing loans, do you? They might cover half the wages sometimes even less. So I've never really got that line that's come out from Manchester United that once Donny goes on loan, they'll then put in the bid for Amrabat. Well, that tells me that they have the money for Amrabat because they're not going to get any money for the Donny loan. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's a little bit strange, really. But it is what it is, isn't it? Hopefully Donny gets his move, but at the moment, as I said, Samuel Luckhurst in the Manchester Evening News is reporting that interest has now cooled in the player, and it is now uncertain if he will leave Manchester United. So, yeah, that kind of explains why it's taken so long and why it's been so unclear for the last kind of 2 or 3 weeks, isn't it? Everybody's been talking about it, but nothing's happened. Right, let's move on to the next bit of midfield madness, and that is Ryan Gravenberch. So there's again a story coming up from Samuel Luckhurst this afternoon saying that Manchester United are considering a late move for Ryan Gravenberch, with the state of the squad's midfield more pressing now that Mason Mount has been ruled out injured. So obviously Mason Mount is out until after the international break. We're desperate for a midfielder now. Desperate. Fred's gone. Mason Mount's out. All we have now is McTominay, Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno, and Donny. But when you actually look at those people, Donny's barely played any football recently. Eriksen is a bench player now. Scott McTominay, Erik ten Hag clearly doesn't like. So you're only really left with Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, of people that he actually likes. Obviously, Kobe Mainoo's injured as well. So we're absolutely desperately crying out for Gravenberch. We are, and we're desperately crying out for Amrabat too. We need both of them. There's another story as well coming out saying that apparently if we were to go for the Gravenberch deal, now a bid hasn't been submitted yet, just to be very, very clear. It's saying that a loan offer with an obligation to buy for Gravenberch is now being considered by Manchester United and Ten Hag. And it says that Bayern Munich are ready to make a deal for Gravenberch, and the player is pushing for a move to Manchester United as he knows Erik ten Hag and believes that he will re-find his form and continue to play first-team football. So, you know what? I think that Gravenberch looks more likely than Amrabat at this point. I do. I think we need both of them. I think we need a striker. But whether or not that will happen, I'm not sure. I genuinely think at this point in time, if I was going to bet on it, I would say Gravenberch on loan with an option or an obligation to buy would be the most likely option. But let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think will happen? Will we go for Amrabat, or will we go for what's he called, Gravenberch? We need both of them. One or the other is not enough. It really, really isn't. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Right. You know what? There's been... Now, this one... I was going to do a video about it earlier, but I just thought, what's the point? It's just more negativity. So Manchester United played a friendly today at Carrington behind closed doors against Burnley. Now, Manchester United lost 3-0 to Burnley today at Carrington behind closed doors. Some of the people who were involved were Johnny Evans, Hannibal, Alvaro Fernandez, McTominay, Martial, Donny van de Beek, and Pelestri. So it was a pretty strong team. It was a lot of the kind of fringe players, let's call it. But yeah, we lost 3-0 to Burnley today at Carrington. I know. I mean, if you want to be fair on it, obviously it is just a way of building up fitness. But it doesn't paint a particularly good picture for any of these people. You know, that our squad depth gets absolutely battered by Burnley. 3-0. Think about if Manchester City's bench played against Burnley. I think they would beat them comfortably. Whereas our bench, our reserve players have just lost 3-0 at Carrington to Burnley. I don't have any more information on it than that. All I have is the team lineup and the score. I don't know who scored for Burnley, but I don't really care, to be completely honest with you. Obviously, I'm not going to be sitting here crying because we've lost. Our reserve team's lost, but obviously it is a little bit concerning, isn't it, that what should have been just a good exercise drill is a pretty embarrassing loss, 3-0. That's, it's not great. Right, let's move on to the next story though. Let's get on to some positivity. Obviously, we had the story coming out a couple of days ago that apparently Saudi clubs were entering the race for Rafael Varane, which obviously caused a lot of concern. A lot of you in the fan base were saying, what are we going to do if Varane goes? That's going to be a massive issue. Him and Martinez are essential. Now, Rafael Varane has completely silenced those claims. He's put up a post on his Instagram earlier on today, and it's him kissing the Manchester United badge, and then he's just put a love heart as the caption. So it's pretty safe to say that that he's not going anywhere. He wants to stay at Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano's come out and said that Rafael Varane will stay at Manchester United, which is great news. It really, really is. Really good news. Because I would be quite worried if Varane went, especially at the moment where everything's a little bit shaky. We need somebody with his experience. We need someone with his mentality to steady the ship and to just try and bring everyone back down to that level where they know what they're doing and a little bit more, compact and reserved. But yeah, let me know about that one. Are you happy? Are you happy that Rafael Varane will be staying at Manchester United, or would you have liked to see him go to Saudi? Let me know. Maybe you would have said, Kieran, you know what? Varane's getting a little bit too old. I don't think he's fast enough. Get rid of him. If that's your opinion, please do let me know in the comment section, as I always want to see what you guys think. Right. Now, this one is a little bit frustrating and it's a little bit concerning, but obviously it is a news show. So I do bring you the news and we discuss it. So don't shoot the messenger. Now, it looks like Onana is about to be recalled to the Cameroon national squad. It's the thing that everybody feared when we were signing Onana. We spoke about this on the show months ago and everyone said, what about African Cup of Nations? What are we going to do when Onana goes? And we all said, Onana isn't in the national team anymore. Him and the manager had a falling out and he's not part of the squad anymore. But apparently he's just been recalled for the international friendlies in September, ahead of the African Cup of Nations, which starts on the 13th of January. So we're going to lose him from about the 13th of January until it's around, if he goes all the way to the final, which I don't know if he will. I'm not sure. I don't follow African Cup of Nations that much, so I don't know how strong a chance Cameroon have of going all the way. But if he does, it will run from the first game is on the 13th of January and the last game is on the 13th of February. So I would imagine that they'll probably give him a week either side. So he'll be out for the whole of January and probably most of February. So yeah, we've lost our goalkeeper for 2 months. Now, obviously that's absolutely terrible. Like, that's our worst nightmare has actually happened. And it's at the point of the season when we need our best goalkeeper. Manchester United can't refuse letting him go. He has to be able to go. But now it's absolutely essential that we bring in this other goalkeeper because he needs to be as good. Obviously, you're not going to get someone as good as Onana, but he needs to be someone who plays in the same style, someone who's good at passing out from the back, someone who's good at distribution, but also good at shot stopping. Because if you had a goalkeeper who's not the same as that, and Erik ten Hag's been trying to implement a new style of play, and then you bring in a goalkeeper who can't pass out from the back, what's the point? You may as well have just kept David De Gea. Realistically, you should have just kept David De Gea for one season if you're going to have done that. So obviously that's really frustrating. I get it. For most people, playing for their national team is, the thing that matters the most to them. So I'm not going to sit here and slag off Onana. Manchester United knew that was a possibility. They knew that when they signed Onana, there's a high chance that he would at some point get recalled to the Cameroon national team. And that has now happened. So we need to now see what the backup plan is. Who's going to be this backup goalkeeper? We do have an update on the backup goalkeeper for you. So it looks like Dean Henderson will be going to Crystal Palace. But we are apparently now in advanced talks to sign Altay Bayindir from Fenerbahce. That's what's being reported by Samuel Lutkers today. Obviously, this is if Dean Henderson goes. If Dean Henderson goes to Crystal Palace, which is what is going to happen, then Manchester United will sign this Altay Bayindir. He's already passed his medical, apparently. I don't know. I haven't watched a hell of a lot of him play. I've got a few friends who watch Turkish football and they said he's good. They said he's good at passing out from the back. Obviously, he's not as good as Onana, but he still is a decent player. So hopefully Manchester United have scouted this right, and hopefully this gets done quickly, because Dean Henderson definitely doesn't have a place at Manchester United now, I don't think. I think he's kind of burnt the bridge with the fans. Even last season, he said that he wanted to leave on loan before the manager came in because if Erik ten Hag saw him in training, he would want to keep him or something, you know? And it was just like, he's burnt his bridges. Let Dean Henderson go. Let him go and be the #1 goalkeeper at Crystal Palace. Get a bit of money for him next season and bring in this Altay Bayindir guy. So Samuel Luckhurst has said, Erik ten Hag is intent on having a high-quality backup goalkeeper behind Andre Onana, and Altay Bayindir has played 5 times for Turkey, okay? And apparently he has now passed his medical. Fabrizio Romano this afternoon has said Altay Bayindir could join Manchester United on a €7 million deal. So it looks like the deal will be worth 7 million. People were saying 5 yesterday. What's that in pounds? It's about 5 or 6 million pounds. So it's not a hell of a lot of money. Obviously, it's not the most exciting transfer ever. But now that we know that Onana is going to go to the African Cup of Nations, it's absolutely essential that we bring in this goalkeeper, because otherwise, who plays in goal? Tom Heaton. All respect to Tom Heaton. I'm not sure about him. You know, he's old. He's good to have around the team. He's good to have as an experienced goalkeeper, but I wouldn't want to have Tom Heaton playing every single game for us for 2 months, personally. Maybe you in the comment section are saying, Kieran, I would love Tom Heaton to get a chance. We don't need this other goalkeeper. If you are that person, do let me know, as I always do like to see what you guys think. And then there's another story coming out just now in the last kind of 10 or so minutes saying that, this is coming from a Turkish journalist, saying that Altay Bayindir will travel to England shortly to complete his move to Manchester United. So it does look like he will be coming. It looks like then that will obviously mean Dean Henderson will go to Crystal Palace. It is what it is, isn't it? Let's wish him all the best. Let's hope he comes in and let's hope that he's decent. We've got over 900 people watching now, which is absolutely amazing. Please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're 30 subscribers away from 14,900. So let's see if we can hit that by the end of today's video. Right, let's move on to this striker story. Now, this is coming up from Fabrizio Romano in the last half an hour or so. And he says, I understand Manchester United and Red Bull Leipzig are both negotiating to sign top talent Dino Klapgia. It goes on to say the decision on player side expected soon, as the 2007 born striker will leave Croatian side soon. So anybody who's wondering who the hell this person is, he's a 16-year-old striker, plays his football in the Croatian league. Really, really, really exciting prospect. Now, I don't know whether he would come into the first team. Who knows? I'm not really sure at this point. My guess is that he wouldn't, but you never know, do you? If someone's good enough, then they should be put into the first team. We don't have any strikers. So if we are going to sign this guy, which it looks like we are, I would at least give him an opportunity on the bench. He's already in the Croatian under 18s team. I would give him a go. I would. I don't know how much the fee is going to be at this point. It hasn't actually been reported, but he is very much a centre forward. He is a striker. He's not someone who plays on the wing and plays on striker as well. He is a pure out-and-out striker. So I think it would be worth looking into. Obviously, I know it's not a Victor Osimhen. I know it's not a Harry Kane or a Lewandowski, but maybe we are building for the future and maybe bringing in this 16-year-old striker. Think about it like this, right? Evan Ferguson's only 18 years of age, right? He's only 18. So bringing in someone who's 16, is that really... I know 2 years is a big difference, but my point is if they're good enough to play football in the Premier League, then they're good enough to play. He's 17 in a couple of months' time. So by the time he actually started playing, he'd probably be around 17. Which is about the same age as, Evan Ferguson's 18 and he's banging in goals for Brighton in the Premier League. So you get my point. If they're good enough to play, they deserve a chance to play. It doesn't matter whether they're 16, 17, 18. Obviously, Evan Ferguson is good enough and he's proved himself, hasn't he? But let me know what you think about this one. I assume 99% of you in the chat will have never heard of this person. And if you have, then fair play, because I'd never heard of him until about half an hour ago. I watched a couple of videos, did a bit of research. And he does seem like the real deal, but obviously he is still very young, so he could either do well or he could flop. You never really know. But yeah, let me know what you think about that one. Right, let's move on to Harry Maguire really, really quickly. So we've got a story coming out this afternoon. I mean, this is just going to add more fuel to the fire today. I appreciate some of you are probably a bit annoyed with the current state of affairs. Manchester Evening News are reporting that Manchester United do not anticipate any movement on Harry Maguire after a £30 million move to West Ham collapsed. It goes on to say, now this is the bit that I found interesting, right? Maguire rejected United's offer of a £6 million payoff and is understood to have wanted double that. So just to clarify what happened here, right? Obviously, we agreed the fee with West Ham, £30 million. There was a difference in the wages that we were going to pay him and what West Ham were going to pay him, right? Harry Maguire was offered £6 million cash up front from Manchester United to leave the club. obviously he's still going to earn money at West Ham. I think he was going to earn 100 grand a week at West Ham, which is still probably more than 99% of people in this chat earn in a year. 100 grand a week he was being offered by West Ham, and 6 million upfront from Manchester United as a kind of compensation package. He rejected that outright, apparently, Samuel Lutkers is reporting, and he wanted £12 million to leave. Absolutely mental. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And you know what? If he wants to stay and sit on the bench, then do that. He's lost all respect from any fan that I know. To do that to Manchester United, to hold us ransom for that amount of money, when he's clearly not part of the plans, you know, to put money before football and not even play and not get in the England side, that just shows what kind of, you know, character he is in the sense of his footballing perspective, what the most important thing is. Now, there'll be people in the chat saying, oh, well, he deserves that money and all the rest of it, but I don't know. I'm not sure for me. I think if I was him, I would take the £6 million and then I'd go and earn 100 grand a week at West Ham. That's still life-changing money. It's like, what, £5 million a year? If they gave him a 4-year contract, it's probably £20 million over 4 years, plus the £6 million we've just paid him. 26. You see where I'm going with this, you know? It's not like he's going to be homeless. So he has lost a lot of respect for me. He really, really has. Yeah, and he only just wanted all of the money up front, which makes no sense because West Ham would have given him a longer contract than what we had left on the deal. There was 2 years left on Harry Maguire's contract. I'm sure that West Ham would have probably offered him a 4-year contract. So even if he was earning half of what he was getting at Manchester United, right? He still would have earned the same over the 4 years, plus he would have got 6 million in compensation. So he still would have been quids in. I don't know. I'm not sure what to say. I think we're stuck with him now. But just to give a bit of a positive spin on it, there is a story coming out from Mike Keegan this afternoon saying, keep your eyes on Harry Maguire. I can see a further twist on the situation before the window closes. Now, the reason why there might be a twist in this, which I think will interest some of you, is I can't pronounce this guy's name, so I'm going to give it a go, but forgive me if I say it wrong. Naif Agoud. So he's a centre-back who obviously plays for West Ham. Apparently he is on the brink of leaving West Ham. I'm not sure exactly where he's going. I think it might be to Turkey. But it looks like he will be leaving, which could mean that West Ham do need to sign another centre-back. Obviously, they've just signed this Greek centre-back, Konstanios Mavropanos, right? They've just signed him, but it looks like Agoud, who was one of their first-choice centre-backs last season, will also be leaving the club this summer. I don't know. I'm not sure. You know what? I have this really strange feeling that Everton are going to come in for Harry Maguire. Yeah, I have this feeling that Everton are going to come for him. That's just my hunch. I haven't seen that anywhere. Everton just got battered 4-0 by Aston Villa. They're desperately going to need, you know, centre-back reinforcements. They've barely spent any money this summer. I can't imagine Harry Maguire would move to Everton, though, realistically. If he's rejected West Ham, why would he move to Everton? I just have this feeling they are going to try and bid for him. But let me know what you think about the Harry Maguire situation. Do you think he would leave this window, or do you think we're now stuck with him? Obviously, he wasn't part of the squad on Saturday. It'll be interesting to see what Erik ten Hag says in his press conference on Friday to see whether he'll be part of the squad for Saturday. My guess is no, but who knows at this point. Right. We got a couple more stories to get through before the end of the show. If you do have any questions you want to ask me, put the letter Q and your message in the chat, and I will read out a couple of questions before the end of the show. And if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. We are 20 subscribers away from 14,900, so do subscribe if you haven't already. Right, the final story that we want to talk about is Mohammed Kudus. So, as we spoke about on the show this morning, West Ham have had a 42 million euros bid rejected, right? And the reason why this bid has been rejected has now been confirmed. Apparently, Ajax feel that there will be other late suitors, so other clubs, who may enter the race in the next week or so. They've rejected their bid because they have a hunch, Ajax, that there are other clubs who are circling for Mohammed Kudus' signature. I know at the moment it feels like we're scraping around the back of the sofa to find the money to get Amrabat. But you know how it is in football. Things can change very, very quickly. This time last season, around this time last season, right, we just lost to Brentford. A couple of days later, we go and sign Casemiro out of nowhere, and we go and spend 100 million euros on Antony. Do you see where I'm going with this? Those two people we weren't going to buy. We lose 4-0 to Brentford, and next thing you know, we're buying both Casemiro and Antony, spending, 160, 170 million euros on two players that we all didn't think that we were going to get. I have a feeling that we're going to go for him. I do. We spoke about it on the show this morning that apparently Erik ten Hag is demanding a striker now or an attacker because obviously Mason Greenwood is not going to be part of the squad next season, and he's desperately crying out for more people in that position. Pellistri, obviously going out on loan. Our options are limited, and I think we're going to go for him. I do. I would be open to it. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think he would be a good player to go for? RJ says, bring in Kudus to bench Antony. Yeah, I'm not at the point yet where we should bench Antony. I think Antony is a good player. I like him. I just think the price tag is what makes it feel a little bit more painful as a Manchester United fan to have spent 100 million euros on him. I think that's my issue for him. It's not that I don't think he's a good player. I think he is. I think he works hard. I think he tracks back. I think he's got some good elements to his game. He needs to improve on his right foot. But overall, the price tag isn't his fault. He's worth somewhere around 30 to 40 million pounds, I think. And we paid 80 million. That's on John Murtough and Richard Arnold. That's not on Erik ten Hag. That's not on the player. So let's give him a bit of slack. Yeah, let's wait and see what happens with that one. Right, I'm going to read out a couple of your questions really, really quickly. Let's see what we've got. Somebody says, do you think Manchester United are buying strategically? No, not at all. I think this window's been an absolute joke. I really do. To buy Rasmus Højlund, who's injured, for 65 million or whatever it was, plus add-ons, seems mental. To buy Onana, great signing, and now to find out that he's going off to African Cup of Nations for 2 months, seems mental when you've just got rid of David De Gea. To buy Mason Mount, who most of the people didn't want in the fan base, seems mental. So at the moment, I don't think they're buying I don't think they're doing it, in the right order. I think it's just a bit of a mess, as it always is. And that's why I'm confident that we're going to sign more players, because I think it's been a mess so far. I really do. And I think that they're just going to panic now and they're going to spend money, as they always do every single season. Right, let's read out a couple more. Jimmy says, is the club at its lowest since the Glazers took over? No, I don't think so. I mean, as an actual club off the pitch, I would say so, yes. Obviously, with the Greenwood situation, the takeover. Obviously, we had the Ronaldo situation. We've had so many situations in the last 12 months. So off the pitch, I would say, yes, we're at probably our lowest point that we've been for a very long time. The morale is at rock bottom. But by way of how we're playing at the moment, I don't think it's nowhere near as bad as it was under David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, under Ralph Rangnick, under Ollie in the last few months. So no, I don't think it's at rock bottom at all. I think the players will click together. As I said on the video yesterday, we've got the third highest XG in the Premier League this season. I think our XG is 6 or 7 goals, right? Yet we've only scored 1. We've created the second most big chances out of any team in the Premier League. Yet we've only scored 1 goal. You wait. Hopefully on Saturday, that's the game where we go out and absolutely batter a team, because I do think it's coming. And I think then once that happens, the confidence will kick in and we'll start winning games more convincingly. So I'm still staying positive about it. But obviously the transfer window has been a joke. It has. Amnat says, how do you see the season? I think we're going to be battling for top 4. I think we're going to get knocked out of the what's it called? The League Cup quite early on. But I think we might get to the final again of the FA Cup. In relation to the Champions League, I've got absolutely no idea. You never know with the Champions League. There's a bit of a breaking news coming out here, actually, about Amrabat. So the Fiorentina manager has been speaking about Amrabat, and he has confirmed that Amrabat is training on his own and he will not travel with us for the next game. So Amrabat is clearly out of the project at Fiorentina. The manager has just spoken and given that statement that he's not training with the rest of the squad and he will not be travelling for any of the games coming up. So if Manchester United don't get this deal done now, if Liverpool come and swoop him out of our hands, or Atletico Madrid, then we only have ourselves to blame. He's not even training with the team anymore. He's not playing games. He's there for the taking. What have we got? Habby says, how would you line up the team against Forest? That's a great question. I'm going to ask that back to the chat. So do let me know in the comment section, what would be your lineup for the game against Nottingham Forest on Saturday? I'm going with this. I'm going with Onana, Luke Shaw, Martinez, Varane, Wan-Bissaka. I'm going for a midfield 3 of Casemiro, McTominay and Bruno. And then up front, I'm going with Rasmus Højlund if he's fit. So we'll have Rashford on the left. If Højlund's fit, obviously he'll start as the striker. And then I'm going for Antony as the right winger, because Pellestri's going out on loan. I don't see the point in giving Pellistri a start if he's going to go out on loan and next week. It's pointless for me. Like, if Erik ten Hag has decided to loan up Pellistri, don't bother starting him against Nottingham Forest. You want to make sure he's fit and able to go out on that loan. So that would be my starting 11. Let me know in the comment section what yours are. I always like to see you guys' opinions. RJ says, imagine we lose to Forest this weekend. You know what, right? We've only ever done 2 proper watch-alongs on this channel. The first one was against Wolves, which was absolute joke. And the second one was against Tottenham, an absolute joke. So I'm absolutely praying that the Nottingham Forest game on Saturday is good. I really, really am, because both of the last 2 watch-alongs have been absolutely miserable. But yeah, if you are around on Saturday, we will be doing a watch-along for that game. I'll probably go live about half an hour before the game starts if you are interested in it. Richie's saying something about some breaking news. If you're talking about the striker, we've already spoken about him. I think you're talking about the striker, yeah. Right, let's see what other questions we've got. Simon says bring in Eriksen for Mount. Other people saying bring in Eriksen. The thing is, right, Eriksen's a good player, but I don't know. He's not going to start McTominay. I think McTominay's going to leave. He would have brought McTominay on against Tottenham if he wanted him as part of his team. Because that game was absolutely screaming out for McTominay. It really, really was. All right, let's read out a couple more questions. We've got 5 minutes left, so I'll read out a couple more before we go. Somebody says, why can't we go all in for Victor Osimhen? I mean, I would love to go all in for Victor Osimhen, but he's going to cost you 150 million. And that's how much we've spent on 3 players this window. So probably not going to happen, unfortunately, my friend. As much as I would like it to happen. Somebody says, even if Maguire leaves, do you think we could buy a replacement at the end of the window? Yes. Well, there was a story coming out this morning whilst we were live saying that apparently Manchester United were about to sign Jean-Claire Todibo. That was the most random story ever. It was literally saying that we were about to sign him in the next couple of hours. It's just the classic, isn't it? Where just journalists put out things and it's just, you know, absolute rubbish pretty much. But yeah, I think we could get a replacement for Harry Maguire, definitely. I mean, I said this to you many, many times before. I would happily just have Johnny Evans as the backup centre-back. I don't think we need Harry Maguire. Simon says, what did you make of the takeover story in The Sun? Spin. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, all of the takeover stories are well placed. They bring out a story a couple of days before a protest is start to happen. It's 1 minute the Glazers are staying, the next minute Qatar's winning. It's just back and forth. I do still think that they will sell, but that's just my own opinion. Irvin says, why do the club sell youths when we have to sell 7 players from the first team squad? I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, right, the reason why we're selling all these youth players is because they're on such small amount of wages that they're easy to sell. Whereas Harry Maguire on 200k a week is not an easy sell. Not a single club in Europe would pay Harry Maguire 200 grand a week, apart from Manchester United. The only place in the world where he would be able to earn that type of money would be Saudi Arabia. And that's why we struggled to sell them, you know? And that's why he wanted this massive payoff, because he said, you know what? I'm not happy only earning 100 grand a week at West Ham. I want my 200 grand a week. That's the issue here. Somebody in the chat saying that apparently Tottenham are about to sign Gift Orban. I've not seen anything about that. Let me just have a look. If they are, that's a deal we should be jumping on. I can't see anything about it. Yeah, I can't see anything about Gift Orban to Tottenham, but if anybody knows where this story is, please let me know and I will have a look. Somebody's asking about the Burnley game. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Right, what have we got? Fred says put Evans on the bench and then just to rub insult to Maguire. Yeah. I mean, you know what? I don't want to badmouth anybody, but if you know, if Maguire's not part of the plan, just get rid of him. So there's a bit more clarity here on what happened at the Burnley game, just to rub a bit of salt in the wound. So it says Burnley thrashed Manchester United 3-0 in a behind-the-closed-doors game at Carrington. It says sources say the score could have easily been 6 or 7-0, with Burnley dominating the game with over 70% possession. Doesn't paint a good light, does it, on McTominay, Martial, all of those people who were involved in that match. Not good at all. Irvin says, how many goals Maguire score for Burnley? I don't know, my friend. Maybe he got all 3. Who knows? Simon says, if Maguire stays, will he play? I don't think so. I mean, if Martinez gets injured, Lindelof plays. If Martinez and Lindelof get injured, Luke Shaw plays. I don't think so. I don't think Maguire will get any game time. I really don't. Maybe a couple of games in the Europa League. Not in the Europa League, thank God. In the League Cup, maybe. But yeah. I mean, just just stop for a minute, right? And just put yourself in Erik ten Hag's shoes. He must be absolutely fuming at the moment. He really must. He's had Mason Greenwood dangled on a carrot in front of him and then taken away. He's got Rasmus Højlund, who's obviously great, and I think he's going to go on to be a good player, but was never the first choice option. He wanted Harry Kane, he wanted Osimhen, he wanted people like that, right? We've got Onana, great, amazing, great signing, one of our best signings I think in the last 10 years. And now he finds out that he's going to go to the African Cup of Nations. Like, it must be really, really frustrating for him. Obviously, Mason Mount's injured, Kobe Mainoo's injured. Like, we have a lot of injuries. Ahmad's injured. Like, he is having a really difficult time now. I know people say, oh, he spent 400 million and all the rest of it, but spending 400 million doesn't mean that your players aren't going to get injured. Like, just saying that somebody spent money doesn't mean that means they're never going to get injured, you know? Right, my friends, I'm going to wrap the video up here. It's been a really, really good show. I know most of it's been relatively negative, but I hope you've still enjoyed it. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video on your way out. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. If anything breaks between now and the morning show at 8 a.m, I will, of course, go live. So make sure you hit the notification bell. I hope you have a lovely morning, day, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you all later.